In the heart of a galaxy ruled by light and logic, she was known as the Eternal Queen, a being who commanded fleets and shattered empires with a single word. Cold, unbreakable, divine. But when Queen Saraphene of Aurelia took a human as her consort, the galaxy laughed. They said he was fragile, tame, a curiosity in silk. Yet when the shadows of rebellion rose again and ancient power stirred, the queen would learn. Her gentle human was something far more dangerous than she had ever imagined. If that opening sent chills down your spine, buckle up. Because this story dives deep into love, war, and the terrifying beauty of humanity's hidden strength. Before we begin, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow sci-fi lovers. It helps more people discover incredible HFY tales just like this one, where humanity doesn't just survive. It redefines what power means. The twin suns of Ares burned pale and distant, their light scattering through the crystal towers of the Aurelian palace. Every shard of glass shimmered like violet fire. Beneath that celestial glow sat Queen Saraphene, the last empress of her kind, radiant, terrible, and alone. Her beauty was something the galaxy feared. Her voice could raise armies, or burn worlds. And yet today, the queen did not sit upon her throne. She stood on her balcony, silent, watching fleets drift across the stars. The empire was quiet, too quiet, and peace in her eyes was only the silence before the next war. Then came the sound she never expected to hear here, a human footstep. He walked in with the calm of a man who didn't belong yet somehow did. Commander Kale, once of the Terran vanguard, once a prisoner of her war, now her consort. He bowed slightly, but his eyes met hers without fear. "Your fleets are restless," he said softly. "Even peace feels like a battle waiting to begin." She turned, her gaze sharp as starlight. "You learn quickly, human. Peace among empires is just silence between storms." He smiled faintly. "And yet you brought me into that storm. Do you regret it?" she asked, her voice cool. "Regret?" Kale looked out to the glowing horizon. "No. But I do wonder why the most feared ruler in the galaxy would marry a man she once kept in chains." That question lingered in the air like a blade. Saraphene had once told herself their union was strategy, a symbol of unity between the Aurelian dominion and the last remnants of humankind. A declaration that the galaxy was hers to command, even its ghosts. But over time, something changed. The human had made her laugh once, and the sound frightened her more than any war. Still, she didn't trust him. How could she? His kind had once defied her ancestors. They had burned their fleets into starlight and vanished into legend. Yet he carried none of that rage, only calm and something she'd never known, compassion. It was disarming. Her counsel never approved. The High Chancellor Voreth, ancient and proud, had warned her. "A human cannot be tamed, my queen. They are unpredictable. If you keep him, he will one day turn that heart of his into a weapon." And yet every time she looked into Kale's eyes, she saw something no Aurelian could understand. Choice. He could have hated her. He didn't. He simply chose peace. Weeks passed. On Solara Prime, the capital of her empire, alien nobles whispered when he walked by. The Queen's pet, they called him, the fragile Terran. But Kale never answered them. He sparred with her soldiers, studied the psionic arts of the Aurelians, debated scholars in the great archives, and somehow, impossibly, earned the quiet respect of those who once despised him. Saraphene found herself watching him too often. There was power in his restraint, in the way he bowed when expected, but never broke. He reminded her of a storm that remembered how to sleep. Then came the night of the convergence of veils, when Solara's 3 moons aligned, casting the palace in ribbons of silver and violet. The High Council assembled in the Hall of Light. Saraphene sat upon her throne, her consort standing silently behind her. Her aura blazed like a star, but so did the tension. "Your Majesty," Chancellor Voreth began, his voice like thunder, "unrest grows in the outer colonies. The Orhal Alliance gathers strength. They test our borders, and your fleets hesitate. She narrowed her eyes. Why? Vorath's words dripped with venom. They whisper of your human companion. They question whether your judgment has been compromised. Kale tensed, but before he could speak, Saraphene raised a hand. My judgment built this empire from the ashes of 10 rebellions. Do you doubt it now because I chose mercy over annihilation? The Chancellor bowed. We doubt not your wisdom, my queen, only the influence of alien blood. The room froze. Kale's voice was quiet, but it carried like a blade. If you fear my blood, Chancellor, remember, it was human engineers who built the warp drives you now use. Terran hands shaped the stars you claim. A murmur swept through the council. Vorath sneered. You speak boldly for one once chained. Kale met his gaze. Freedom teaches boldness. Saraphene rose from her throne. Her energy flared, white and blinding. Enough. The next who questions my decisions will serve mining drones on a barren moon. My consort speaks as my equal. Remember that. The council bowed in terrified unison. But as she turned to leave, Kale felt it. A psychic tremor from Vorath's mind. A thought whispered in hatred, buried beneath obedience. The human must die before he ruins her. Kale said nothing, but inside him something cold began to stir. Not anger, not fear, something older, something human. The following dawn burned pale and strange. Storm clouds gathered over the Aurelian capital, not of water but of energy. Reports flooded in. Outer colonies aflame, fleets ambushed, rebellion rising beyond the ecliptic rim. Queen Saraphene stood before her war table, her psionic crown flickering with frustration. The betrayal she had feared had come true. But what she didn't know was that it had begun right here, within her own palace walls. Down in the command corridors, Kale moved like a ghost. The guards no longer whispered. They stared. He could feel it. The tension, the mistrust, the way they averted their gaze when he passed, and above it all, a psychic hum, faint but pulsing through the air like static. Someone was guiding the rebellion, from inside. When he reached the war docks, he found Vorath waiting. The High Chancellor's luminous eyes burned with contempt. You've infected her, human, he hissed, turned our queen soft. Kale said nothing. His expression stayed calm, his voice low. If mercy frightens you, maybe it's not me who's the infection. Vorath's grin twisted. You think she chose you for love? You were a symbol, a pet dressed in robes. But tonight you die as a reminder that humans are nothing. He raised his hand. Psionic energy surged, blinding white, but it froze mid-air. The light warped, reality bent, and for the first time the galaxy saw what humans really were. The shockwave rippled through the dock like a sun exploding underwater. Kale stood at the center, eyes glowing faint blue, his heartbeat echoing through the air like a drum of thunder. Vorath stumbled back. Impossible. Hamans. Lost their psionics millennia ago. Kale stepped forward. We didn't lose them. We hid them. He lifted his hand, and the entire hangar shook. The Aurelian warships hovering above turned in perfect unison, their weapons disabling mid-charge. The guards dropped to their knees as their psychic channels flickered and died. His voice was steady, terrifyingly calm. You think control is power. Humans learned the truth long ago. Power isn't born from mind or flesh. It's born from choice. Vorath tried to strike again, but Kale's aura erupted. Not as flame, not as light, but something deeper. Human will. The kind that had survived extinction, starvation, endless wars, and still stood defiant. The Chancellor fell to the floor, gasping, his psionics snuffed out like a candle. Kale turned away, his expression unreadable. Tell your queen I never wanted this war. Moments later, alarms screamed through the palace. Saraphene raced down the halls, her crown blazing, her heart torn between rage and fear. She found him standing on the balcony again, the same place they had first spoken. The horizon burned. Dozens of rebel fleets appeared from the void, engines glowing red. Her general screamed through the comms, "We're surrounded! The outer colonies are lost!" Saraphene faced him. "You did this." Kale's eyes glowed faintly. "No, but I can end it." Before she could answer, he reached out, and for the first time, she felt his mind touch hers. It wasn't alien, or cold, or mechanical like her own people's. It was alive, fierce, terrifyingly human. Images poured through her. Earth burning, fleets falling, a dying humanity refusing to bow. And then, a single truth. The human species never died. They evolved. They became ghosts hidden among the stars. She staggered back. You're one of them." He nodded once. "We called ourselves the Wardens. We swore never to reveal ourselves until the galaxy threatened itself again." Then he looked at her, the queen who had conquered everything except her own loneliness. "Your people don't need another god, Saraphene. They need to remember how to be alive." He stepped past her, walking toward the balcony's edge. Outside, the enemy fleets charged, red light filling the sky. Kale closed his eyes and unleashed humanity's final secret. The sky went white. The rebellion fleet stopped mid-flight. Engines failed, weapons disarmed. And from every Aurelian ship, soldiers stared as an invisible wave of light swept across the void, pure harmonic energy born from human thought. When it cleared, the rebels' weapons floated in orbit, dismantled, harmless. Kale knelt, exhausted, his power fading. "It's done." Saraphene fell to her knees beside him, stunned. What are you?" He smiled faintly. "Human. Just human." She reached out, trembling, touching his face as though seeing him for the first time. And in that moment, she understood what no empire ever could. It wasn't power that made humanity dangerous. It was their heart, their refusal to give up, even when the universe demanded surrender. The stars outside shimmered again. Peace, real peace, fell across the Aurelian Empire for the first time in centuries, and at its center stood a queen and her human, the gentle storm that had awoken at last. And that was the alien queen believed her human mate was gentle until his true power awoke. A story that reminds us, sometimes the quietest souls carry the loudest storms. Kale didn't roar. He didn't rage. And he chose peace, and in doing so revealed the most dangerous truth in the galaxy. That humanity's greatest weapon has never been strength. It's heart. It's will. It's the impossible urge to protect, even those who once called us monsters. If this story hit you right in the feels or made you proud to be human, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more HFY stories where humanity doesn't just survive, we inspire. Drop a comment below. Tell us what you'd do if you discovered your human power among the stars. Until next time, stay curious, stay human, and remember, legends aren't born, they awaken.